It is Monday, March 16th at about 7:14 Eastern time. And so, story still goes. It's all about oil. So and headlines. So you need to be cognizant of the headlines. There's no question about that right now. And there's really nothing you can do about it, like good, bad, or indifferent. It does look like overnight that the market is a little bit correcting itself. We had run up to about 102. It looks like 102.44 to be exact. 102.44. And a perfect spot to put an alert. And we will put this in and do that. So we have that alert in now. Not really seeing much on crude oil. You know my opinion on it. I'm not going to go over levels. You can see, I mean, you did have an opportunity overnight after this little bit of a swing here to get short if you were, able to do it overnight. I, however, did not do anything. And then overall, I mean, we're at where we're at now. I think there's a little discrepancy on price right now. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, if you're not trading the May contract by now, likely, you're not really paying attention, because most platforms, in fact, I think every platform has rolled, probably other than Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim's always last, and I would assume that their roll will be today or tomorrow. It's probably going to be tonight. Today after 12 o'clock, you'll see that contract roll. We are in the May contract, and I'll go over to Tasty, and you can see here they're actually trading the May, and May is actually trading much less and down much more. Actually, not much more, but it's about the same percentage, but it is actually a couple of dollars, $2 or $3 cheaper, and so the price reflected out in the marketplace and out in the public right now is what is March. And, say whatever you want. I mean, I personally believe that they wouldn't be quoting the higher price right now if it didn't have to do with making the Orange Man bad look bad. I mean, that's to me like what the only reason why they keep continuing to quote the March contract. But nonetheless, it's actually still showing here on the continuous as well. And so, anyway, there you have it. And that's kind of what's going on with crude oil. And my opinion overall on crude oil. I'm a little bit longer term short, although my position there is getting a little pressed. It is what it is. So as far as things, I'm going to change it up a little bit today, and I'm going to move over into the ES, and then I'm going to change gears a little bit today. And then rather than just talk about levels right out of the gate, I'm going to talk about chart setups, because I've gotten a number of folks who've been asking, and now that I'm actually doing a little more futures, and I'm a lot more active, in fact, doing futures than I am doing much of anything else. There's been quite a few people asking about chart setups. And so, I will say this right out front. Your chart setups or any chart setup is not have anything to do with whatever your strategy is, and it has nothing to do with your performance results. It's all look and feel, and it's the setup that makes you feel the most comfortable with the way you trade. And so you need to understand that. And so although this is how I set it up, likely you're going to make a number of changes, even if you do decide to like this setup and you do set it all up. And, you're going to find that there's things that I have set up that you just don't like or think just garbage, and you're going to be like, I'm not using that. And that's all well and good, but need to kind of take this as a template and not kind of the end all. So anyway, first things first is what I do is I go up here and I have, first things first, as far as TradingView is concerned, I have the ultimate, it's the ultimate, I have the ultimate subscription. Now, the ultimate subscription is, I want to say it's $500 or $600. It's like $500 or $600 a year, and I pay for it up front every year because I don't want to pay something over the course of the month, because then it forces. I keep hitting stuff with my arm. Sorry about that. But I don't like to pay stuff on a monthly basis. It just kind of annoys me because, although you don't tend to feel it, to me, I don't like somebody crawling into my bank account every month automatically and pulling money out. And that's what they want. And to me, it's just easier to pay it all up front. I pay for it right away. And you get it much cheaper, actually. I think it ends up being a couple $100 cheaper. Anyway, that's the one that I have. I don't know how much I paid for it. Honestly, I don't. I'll have to look when I bid for it. I don't really care how much it costs. It's because I enjoy the platform and I don't mind paying for it. And so each his own. So a lot of these features that are in here are going to be here because I'm in the ultimate account tier. So some of this stuff won't be available. So first and foremost, what won't be available in the basic package is the volume profile, which is here. Okay, so you're not going to get this. Let me get my pointer out. So you're not going to get volume profile unless you go to the next tier, which again, I'm not here to tout or recommend, or I don't get paid by TradingView. But the volume profile, which is here on this chart right here, all this, you're not going to get that in the basic package, which is, I believe, the free tier. I think you actually have to pay for one tier. I think it's one tier. It might even be two. I don't know. You can figure it out. They're pretty, it's pretty straightforward. I think there's like 4 packages. So I know this doesn't come in the basic tier. So you're going to have to pay for something if you want to get that. So I'm just going over this right out of the bat, because if you go to start using this stuff and then you say, and then it's not available, you know why. And then secondly, the other thing that I even pay for outside of all the other bullshit kind of stuff is these are the footprint charts. And the footprint charts are only available in the ultimate package. Now, I have just recently turned these on because I, like everybody else, was fighting it. And I'm like, I'm not paying it. I enjoyed using the footprint charts when I was at Ninja. I love the footprint charts at Ninja. Unfortunately, I got tired of running Ninja. Ninja, although a great platform, so buggy. Written like fucking dog shit. If there's a message out there for anybody, in Ninja world, that program, although it is slick and it looks great, and when it runs great, But when it doesn't, it is a piece of dog shit. So, it's good and bad, and I enjoyed the footprint charts there. And I really like their footprint chart. In fact, I think their footprint chart, kills this. I think it's so much better. But the fact is that, I'm not that so invested in footprint charts, but I do like these. So I'll show you how I have it set up when I get to it, but that's the layout. So that's the stuff that you're going to need to be worried about, that if you want to turn it on, it's not going to be it there in some of the lower level packages. So first things first, what I do is I set up all my futures in watch lists. So all the futures it's not even that I trade these, but the futures that I watch on a regular basis, I mean, this is kind of like this is my home page, right? The minute I log in, this is the first place I look, no matter what's going on in the market, no matter what's going on with stocks. I am always glued to this page because I want to know where equities are, where equity futures are, I want to know where commodities futures are. I want to know where interest rates are, which is all this stuff up here. I want to know where the dollar is. I want to know where the VIX is. I want to know where other secondary commodities are, your soybeans, wheat. Even though I don't trade many of these, if at all, anymore, I used to, not anymore. I still want to know what's going on with those, because all in their own way have some sort of impact in the markets. So anyway, that's what I have set up here, and that's as far as my watch list. So that's first thing. So you set up these watch lists, and these are all, if you notice, all these contracts have the little exclamation point at the end. This is the continuous contract. Now, because these contracts all roll on an ongoing basis, right? Crude oil's every month. Some of the others are every quarter, and whatnot. And so what I want is I always want the most recent. And so what that continuous contract does is it gives you a continuous quote of the commodity, irregardless of what contract is trading. It's just a little easier to follow than going in here every time one of these rolls. I would have to go and change that contract, and it is kind of a pain in the ass. All right, so that's as far as watch lists, all the other stuff, and that's pretty much built in here. No matter what, you get these panels over here, which is watch list, alerts, some other stuff which I don't even look at, and some more stuff which are chats or something, and I don't really look at those. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what drives this panel up here. And in this panel here, I just use a 3-panel, and you call it anything you want, and I call it mini because I trade the minis in here, the E-minis, the NASDAQ minis, the Russells, and most of these in general, even though they're full-blown, there are mini cons. So that's just what I call it. You can call it anything you want, and it's this one right here. So if I click on this layout, it's this one right here. It's 3, and then it's this one and this one. All right? And you can do whatever you want. If you want 4 in there, then you can do 4. I do 3. It's just the 3 types of charts that I look at on an ongoing basis. I try to keep the noise as little as possible and the focus on one market. So that's it. It's a 3-panel chart. Now, the one over here all the way over to the left here, this one. All right, this is always a 1 hour. I always have this on a 1 hour. And the only things that I really have on here are basically three things. The volume profile, which this volume profile is a continuous, and you'll see what I mean when I zoom out. I have the pivot points, which are all these. And I have yesterday's low and high. All right, and that is that. And now I'm going to zoom out on this just to kind of give you a better picture. All right, and then you can see I have my drawings and everything else. And then you can see with the volume profile how when I zoom out, I have a much bigger representation of what's going on. This is going to capture everything in the screen. So if I go up here, or if I just click on this twice, it will bring up the, I think it's, I don't even know what it's actually called, but this is what it comes up as, VRVP. VRVP. All right, these are the numbers I use in here. For row layout, I use number of rows. Row size, I use 987. And if you know anything about math, you'll understand why I use 987. 987 is a Fibonacci number. And why I use 987, I don't know. It's the one that I've come up with over the years, really, or other than anything. I mean, there's really nothing scientific other than me running my head through the fucking wall for the last 15 to 20 years, trying to figure out what value I think is right. And that is kind of the one that kind of stuck and gave me the picture that I want to see. And actually that picture that I want to see translating into trades has actually worked the best. Now you can fuck around with that and put in whatever the hell you want and change it, and that's fine, but just realize that it's going to give you a different picture of what's going on. Now, the row sizes being more granular in here is going to give you a little more noise in here. So the bigger this number, the less noise you're going to get in here. I always use delta. And the reason I use delta is because I'm really not interested in the amount of volume. I'm interested in the difference between buyers and sellers. Like, where's that discrepancy? Are there more buyers? Are there more sellers? That's it. I'm trying to simplify everything to the point where, when I'm looking at the chart, I don't have to do 1,000 calculations in my head to try and figure out, is this the buy side? I know there's more buyers than sellers in here, and that's the delta. There's more sellers than buyers in here where this red is, and that's the delta. And that's all I really care about. Now, as far as style in here, you can change these colors any way you want. I just decided to just make up green and down red. You want to make up blue, whatever suits your needs, you can change these. That is fine. I always choose placement on the right. I like having this in the right margin. And the only thing that I actually even have in here is the point of control, because that's really the only spot. I'm not interested in the value area per se, especially on this larger time frame of this, because all I'm really looking for, and this is the setup with that. And then visibility, I don't even touch that. And that's how the VRVP is set up, because all I'm really worried about in here is what I talk about often on here is high volume nodes, which are nodes that, you see these larger areas of volume sticking out. So there's a high volume node there. There's one there. There's one there, right? You get the point. Now, and I also looking for low volume nodes, right? Here's a low volume node here. And look, it's just, rather than like try and learn new terms, just look for tits and crevices, right? Peaks and valleys. That's all you're looking for. Peaks and valleys, right? Peak, valley, peak, valley, peak, valley. And that's all a low volume node and a high volume node are. And so that's it. So that's how you set up that. And then as far as the pivots are concerned, let me see. As far as the pivots are concerned, the indicator is called pivots. I use the Fibonacci's. I only use the daily, and I only use one. I don't care what they were yesterday because I'm trading today. Now, you want to use 2 or 3 and you want to be able to go back, that's fine. But just understand it adds a lot of mess to your chart and it gets messy fast. I have found just deal with today. So that's the way I set it up. On that, I use daily based values. I show labels. I show prices. I put the prices on the right. I make the line width 2 so they're a little thicker so I can see them. You can make them lighter however you want. And then these are all the, green represents support. So that's usually where I'm buying. And red represents resistance. And that's where I'm selling. And that is how you set. And then as far as style, this is all just basic stuff. And that is it as far as those are concerned. Again, very straightforward. No real big deal. And then in here, I have this DWML. And I found this one because the one that was built in, so it's the DWHL, the one that was built in just wasn't cutting it. I couldn't customize it, and it kind of annoyed me. And in this one, you can do daily. It's basically daily, high, low. And you can do the weekly. You can do the monthly. I just want to do daily. That's all I'm interested in. I do show projections. That's what you see with those light lines around. I don't really use them. I just left it there, honestly, just to see if it, I don't even pay attention to them. As far as style, this is it. This basic, and this is a very basic low-level indicator, but it's perfect because it gives me the previous day's high and low, and that's all I want. And put it on the chart, and I know it's yellow, and that is that. So those are all the ones that I have and I use that are, I guess, active. Now, there's a number that are inactive, and I only use these when we get to areas that there really is like no more profile. So like when we're near or at all-time highs, right now I really haven't used them or had a need to use them. But when you get near or close to all-time highs, there's no profile up here. And so what I'll often do is I'll use either fib extensions or fib retracements just to give me some kind of semblance of a forecast of where we may go up and above where we're at. All right, and that's it. And that's why those are darkened, because I'm just not even using them. Okay, and then last but not least is this SV, and this is the session volume profile. This one is pretty, I've actually dumbed this one down to almost not even being like used, but what it does do, and if you notice all the lines on here, what I'm doing here is I'm just getting the points of control for the sessions dating back, and I have them in light orange. Now, I could put all the profile stuff in here, but if I do, it's going to make this chart an absolute mess. And in reality, I'm really not interested in all the other stuff. I'm not interested in the profile per se. I'm not really interested in the high, in the value area, and the very low, from the past 30 sessions. I don't really give a shit. I just don't. The only thing I'm interested in is where was the most volume during that day. And that's what it's doing. And that's what these very late lines are that you see here along the way. And again, I have them very low because I don't use, again, it's something that I don't use. But if I see something coming up to a level or going down to a level, and I also see that it was a point of control at some point, that's going to have some significance. Okay. And so that's the setup. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 indicators. All very low level. Again, they're not very fancy, right? It's not stochastics. It's not, the MACD and all this other stuff. Because I'm honestly, I don't look at that. It's kind of all noise. It's all, if you notice, everything that I'm using is all based on one of two things. It's either price or volume, and that's it. That's all I care about. All right, and so that's this setup here. And that's the 1 hour chart. And this is the chart that I will flow through during the days and even on the broadcast, where if I'm looking at a 4 hour, I will go to a 4 hour, right? And I will draw. And it has everything I need in here. And then when I do, you notice sometimes I'll go in when I'm starting to drill out, I will actually get rid of some of this other stuff just so it's not in the way, right? And so now we have this, and now it's very clean. And that's my 4 hour chart, okay? And so that's kind of it. as far as like this setup. And then I roll through the different time frames, but I'm always on the 1 hour in here. And then I can go back in here and just shrink this down, and then it's right back in business. All right, so now let's look at this one up here. This is the top right. Now, I don't really even, full disclosure, I don't even really use this. Someone, I want to say about 6 or 8 months ago, turned me on to this, and I thought it looked good. I thought it was a lot of fluff, and this is actually, this is Super Trend, which is free. This also is pivots and also daily high-low, right? So now what Super Trend tries to do, and I'll show you how I have it set up. These are all my setups: uptrend, buy, downtrend with the arrows, right? I always never really liked stuff like this that would try to tell you when to go long or go short. I always thought that you might just get too comfortable with what an indicator is telling you to do, because when it's wrong, it doesn't mark on the chart and go back and say, yeah, I was wrong here. I should have been a buy or a sell. What it does is it actually just flips it to what it should have been. And, and so it's kind of, but anyway, this is how I have it set up. And these are all the settings in here for Super Trend. The input is always chart. I'm using ATR 48. I am using open, high, low, close divided by 4. And the multiplier is 2.75. All right, and then I use all this other stuff. So again, this is nothing fancy. I think I did change some of this stuff around, like the uptrend and all this other stuff, so that you can get these like bars with the clouds. And again, it looks really interesting. But when you actually, at the end of the day, if you really look, I mean, this thing triggered a sell here, and it was basically 2 bars late. Was it really a sell here? I don't know. And I've adjusted it. And again, it looks good. I think for trend trading, what I've noticed it's actually good for is if I'm looking at a reversal. So let's say we get a buy signal and we've traded and we're going up like we are now on the ES, right? And then we get a reversal, right? And we get a reversal. So here was the reversal. And I kind of like it because here we came into a reversal. To me, this is a buy here. And so that is what I found it to be better at, is getting me into trades during reversals. Not total reversals, but a pullback and a not a reversal, but a gap down and a short-term reversal on the way up. I found it's a good indicator to get me in a spot where I wouldn't have gotten in the trade otherwise. I mean, so as far as these buy and sell, they're fucking garbage. They suck. I mean, I should almost just get rid of them. But the nice thing about it is I leave it there, because when I keep this chart shrunk down, and I will shrink it down, I just leave it up here in the corner. And you notice I don't really have it like zoomed in. I'm just looking like, oh, we were in a buy channel and we're pulling back, and we haven't reversed yet. So it hasn't signaled a reversal. So this might be a good buy, because it's getting down near the bottom here. And like, that's a good entry point. And I found it's actually pretty good at that. Now, is it 100%? Hell no. But it's definitely better than 50%. And if I'm looking at that kind of trade, it could just be something that's a confirmation to take the trade. All right, so that's it. And that's that one. And so really the only thing on there that's different is the Super Trend, other than, and I use a 15-minute time frame on that one. All right, that's 15 minutes. Could be anything. You want to do 5, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. I like 15 minutes. All right, so then now, last but not least, this bottom pane, which is the bottom right. And I will blow this up. And the only thing on here, and I still have the pivots and the daily high-low because I just like having those because I'm a pivot trader. So I like having those and, high-lows for the day, the previous day. I like trading those as well. So those are on there. And then this is actually a footprint chart on the 1 minute. But this one requires going down here to this cog down here to set this up. And this one you have to do more settings. And though this one's all set up in the symbol because this is a type of chart. And then you also need to choose footprint from here. See, volume footprint. All right, so that is the type of chart. So volume footprint. And then down here, you're going to go into setting or more settings. And then under symbol, this is where you're going to set all this up. So it's basically the same thing that you're always going to do in here as far as setting up your candles, your bodies, the borders, the wicks, all that kind of business. You're going to set that up in here. I'm pretty straightforward with most of my stuff. I like, green for up, red for down. I don't try to get complicated. I'm not going to do black and yellow like the ICT guys and do, I just, and look, if that works for you, that's fine. I just rather stick to, something that's been embedded in my head for the last 30 years as I, buy support, sell resistance. So that's it. Red and green. And then row size, I use auto. I was messing around with it, but I found that the auto setting is much better and much cleaner than messing around. For the display, I use cluster. And you can see the difference. If I use profile, it just shortens the candles up a little bit and gives you more of a volume profile style of the candle. Of the footprint, but I found that it just not, I don't know, a little too much. I don't really care. I just want to see the whole block and I want to see the number in there. And then type, I always use delta. Again, I just want to see the difference. I want to see, is there more buyers or sellers? That's it. That's all I'm interested in. Is the buying coming in or the buyers being absorbed? I don't want to have to look now. You can do buy and sell, and if you notice here, it actually puts the buys and the sells on two sides. Again, too much information for me. When I'm looking at a chart, I don't want to have to look at both sides. I don't really care. Again, ladder as well is another one that has both sides. I don't care. I just stick to delta. That's all I'm interested in. You can see it's a much cleaner candle, and I still get the regular candlestick next to it. But what I'm getting with the footprint chart is I'm getting the bid ask, and here I'm basically getting a delta. All right, and then this is just standard apply gradient. And so basically the lighter the color, the more volume in that candle. Right, value area is always 70%. And then as far as imbalance, I just keep this at default. That's default at 300%. And then in table down here, I always choose table. And then on the volume and data stuff, it's volume because I want to know the volume. It's delta. Again, I'm always going with delta because down here, if you notice, it gives you the delta. The session CVD, which is a new one by me. Someone turned me on to that one, and I actually like it. Now, what the session CVD is that is cumulative volume and the point of control on that candle. Now, again, that's not even important. I just put that there, just to see, honestly. I don't really, but the CVD, and you notice down here, and I'll zoom in, these are the cumulative volume, and then these are the cumulative delta. So right now, sellers are basically taking over right now in this time frame. And then overall, we are positive as far as buyers. We have had more buy volume than sell volume up to this point. And you can see this fluctuates. Here's going up, right? 314, 338, right? Coming down, coming down, coming down. So this obviously was representing this little sell-off that we just had, right? Coming down, coming down, coming down. All right. And, and then now we just got to blip up. So this is actually now increasing over the previous. All right. And so that's it. And then, and then we shrink this down. And that's my chart setup. And I pretty much use this on every single thing that I trade. So if I'm trading ES, I'm trading crude oil, I'm trading gold, you can see it all comes up pretty cleanly. If I'm trading the Russell is kind of my game. I really enjoy trading the Russell right now. And then here's GC. And so that is kind of the chart setup. All right. And so give it a shot. And then when you like it, you just hit save. And then you have it saved. And then you can use it to your religious fulfillment. All right. And then that's that. And so anyway, with that being said, that's my chart setup. As far as like trading and doing futures. Now, what I also wanted to go over is, as I mentioned, I'm in a Express. I got expressly funded. I'm expressly funded, man. Well, whatever that means. It's still, let's face it, folks. It's a fucking SIM account. It's a SIM account that you can get payouts on with rules. And I read through the rules. They're fair. They're fair. I'm not gonna beat them up and say, oh, they're fair. Let's face it. To be able to get a payout on a SIM account, to me, that's you can't get much fairer than that. Now, I know they're all doing it now. But anyway, I did get funded, and I'm in this Express account. And what I've been trading in here is I actually, I use the mini contracts to get funded. And now that I'm actually in here and I have this Express account, I've been trading the micros. And I had a nice trade last night. I actually went long M2K for about a $50 profit. But what my goal is here now in this Express account is I'm going to continue to use micros. And I'm going to try and just build this up to a couple of $100, $400 or $500. Just using micros. Mainly, I'll probably use the Russell, but I know I have done a couple of trades, believe it or not, in the NASDAQ. And so that's where I'm going with this. And so I'll be sharing a little bit more of these types of trades in here going forward as this account progresses. Right now, I have to be honest, I'm kind of a big pussy in here because, again, I'm just trying to build this so that I have a cushion. And so my goal is get up to about 400 or 500 in here, get that cushion, and then I'll actually move into the minis. But right now I'm just doing micros. And I'm just looking for little base hits. And if you look at my little, whatever the hell this is called, this little dashboard that they have, which is pretty cool. You can see I've been kind of just nickel and diming this one. Last week was a rough week, man. It was rough. It was a rough trade, man. There wasn't a lot of directional movement, but hopefully things are getting better. And so this is how I've gone in this. And again, I'm just slowly trying to get a cushion built in here so that I can start trading some bigger, and I'll start scaling up. I'll start scaling up in the micros when I hit probably 200-300, and I'll do that for a while. But 500 is my goal to get, and then I'm going to move over to the minis. So that's how that's going. I also started another one. So once I passed that one, I went and got another one. And this one I got, what, 50,000? I'm up about $928. This one I'm actually still trading the minis in. So I'm doing the full-blown minis, and you can see this one. I had a rough week last week, but, actually starting to chip back away on this one here. And had 1 week where I didn't even trade. I think this was because this is the week I passed. So I was trading the other account. But I can link these. You can link them together. The only thing is I don't like it because, again, I'm trading minis in this one and I'm trading micros in the other. And, I could link them and do them in both, but I'm more interested in just doing micros in the fund. So that's how it's going with me with this. And then, the objective with these funded accounts and these express accounts, folks, if I don't know if anybody's ever really explained to you how to do this, is to stack these, is to get 5. I think you can have 5 is the limit. But you stack these accounts and you get, 3, 4, 5 of them, and then you trade them all at once. And that's how you basically do it with these. And that's really the only way. And these are all 50K ones. I mean, because to me, 50K is more than enough. You don't need 150, folks. I know there's people that think that somehow 150,000 is it really the amount is not even the game here. It's the strategy. It has nothing to do with the amount. And I wish I could explain that to people. I mean, the amount is meaningless because at the end of the day, number one, this is a SIM account. So they're really not giving, so there's no margin or anything else involved. So who cares? You could trade up to 5 contracts, 5 of the big ones, which is more than enough position. Because look, you're not on fucking Wall Street. You don't work for Bloomberg. You don't work for some fucking hedge fund. You know what I mean? You don't trade for Ackman. You know what I mean? Fucking wake up. You don't need 150,000. So even if this goes live, right? At the end of the day, you talk about day trade margin is 1,000. Let's talk about the ES. Day trade margin is $1,000 on the ES. So in reality, even if I had a 50K account, they're not even really giving me 50,000. If it was a true live account, at the end of the day, they're only giving me $5,000 worth of margin, and that's really all they're giving me. So, just put that in perspective. Look, the amount is not the deal. All right. And so that's how that's going. And it's going pretty good. And I've been like I said, I've been kind of trading like a big pansy in it, but it's working. And I'm going to continue to go that route. And I'm hoping to have a couple of $100 in there in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to take my time and see how it goes. But apparently if you get over, I don't even know what the amount is, but if you have three $150 days, or at least $350 days and your account's profitable, you're able to start taking payouts. I don't really give a shit. I don't need the money anyway. I have plenty of money. Not that I'm Elon Musk, but I have plenty of my own money that I could actually have done this. As I said, I did this more for myself to see if I had the discipline and have the discipline to trade within these rules. I mean, right? Because, otherwise when you're trading on your own, and that's fine, and you take profits and all that other stuff, you really don't have any, there's no rules, man. You don't have any rules. And I just had to prove something to myself, and, so far so good. Hopefully it continues that way. So anyway, let's get into, I've been babbling now for 44 minutes. I'm not really going to get into a lot of stuff. We are moving pretty decently today. I would most likely think, and we go up here, is one thing about Top Step X that's nice is this news feed. We've been getting news feeds almost all night, and they've all been pretty positive overall. And And they're starting to get reports that stuff's starting to flow through the Port of Hormuz. And I think we're going to find, hopefully, that maybe by the time the end of this week kind of gets around, that quite possibly things are flowing normally through there. Ships aren't getting bombed. And that will actually bring oil back down even further. And we will see how that goes. So, but this news feed on here is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Overall, I mean, if you want my assessment of Top Step X, I think it kind of fucking sucks, to be honest. I don't like it. The charts are kind of clunky. The interface itself, but hey, for a platform that they give you for free, basically, well, it's not free. You got to pay for the combines, which are $50. But, for something, and they offer you a platform with this dashboard and all this, that's pretty slick. I mean, I do have to say, it's pretty slick. And then, if you don't have all the other tools, it's perfect. It's perfect. So, anyway, that is that. And then as far as, the markets are concerned, a lot of these levels that I see we're trading at, we still have a decent ways to go. 67.09 on the ES possible, but I like R2 here. Let me just pop this up. I do like R2 here, right here on the ES today, 67.35, 75, because not only is it in R2, but it's also yesterday's or Friday's highs. So that is a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That is absolutely a good one. And Arnold would like this one. Arnold would love this one. And so I'm definitely going to mark this one out, because this is a good one. And this was R2, and also high of the day. Friday was the 13th. Ooh. 16/13/2026. And there you have it. So it was 2. And high of the day. All right, and so we have that alert set. It did not like that. It did not like this. It's supposed to be content. All right, and then we have R2 and high of the day 03/16/13 2026. It didn't like that. You're probably typing in, that is JSON. Oh, no, it's not. See? You dumbass. You dumbass. There you go. Apply. Okay, so that one, again, that's one I think you really got to look out for today. That has the chance of being, in my opinion, probably the trade of the day. Now, I don't know if we get there. R1 67.09, depending on how we continue to trade here, that as well could be a pretty decent area, but I really don't know if I'd even mark it, because again, I'd probably let it go through there, only that because this area here is so strong. I'd really be looking to focus on that one and take that one today. As far as the downside, I would look for this for Friday's close or Friday's lows, 66.25, to be pretty strong resistant or pretty strong support here. If we take that out, it could possibly get pretty ugly. But given the way things are going so far this morning, chances of that happening, who knows? But hey, shit has been all over the place. As far as the NQ is concerned, same thing. I mean, you can't, right now, the ES and the NASDAQ are trading in such parity, it's kind of crazy. But you got an R2 at 24,082.50, and then Friday's highs right there. So that's another spot. So mark that as well on the NASDAQ. The Russell is probably a little, no, Russell's exactly the same. So it's kind of crazy right now how this is all stacked up. And I already have an alert set there. All right, and so that is that on the equities. As far as gold, again, I'm not interested right now. Gold looks to me like it's just it's going to be a chop house. We had a nice run up last night for a time, but then they quickly smashed it. And it continues to kind of just churn around in here. Not turn around, but churn. And if I'm a trending person, this should somewhat alarm you. Not alarm you, but like, ooh. But look, if you're just uberly gold bullish, this should at least maybe put you back in check a little bit. And that we're gonna have to break out above here at some point to reverse this short-term trend, which does appear that, we are kind of in a bit of a channel here. Like, again, if you want to be if you want to be like a wonk here, you got this channel here. Now, you could argue a lot of different things on this. You can argue and say, oh, this is a bull flag, which it quite possibly could be. But for me, and then just looking at this, I kind of see, and I'm kind of a gold bull long term. I showed you, I have calls out to, on the GLD, I have calls out to 600 out next January. But to me, short term, it looks like we got the possibility of even getting back down to 48.54 here. Right down here. Now, does that happen? I don't know. There's a lot of bumps in the road. We got S3 here, 45, 50, 49, 55. And we kind of bouncing around right here. But, likely I would say if we take that out, we take those 45, that 49.51 out, it's a good chance we get back down to that 48. But would that be enough to kind of give the bulls a little bit of a little bit of chutzpah on this? Possibly. But anyway, that's it on that. I don't have much on the equity front. Stocks right now, in my opinion, you got SanDisk that's kind of going ballistic. Went ballistic Friday. It's up again today. Micron up 5%. Looks like it's up about 4% again. So those seem to have caught fire again. But overall, stocks in general just don't interest me. Especially the bigger names. Like, these are the names that I trade the most. And I just, again, there's no catalyst, and I just don't find any excitement there. And it's been quite boring, to be honest, as far as trading. And so if we're looking at the other list, this is more of like my, I guess, new wave list. The only thing that I continue to still like on here is CCJ and URA, even though it's been kind of getting beat up quite a bit. I still like these two. And they're both uranium plays. All right. And then, outside of that, I showed you the trade that I did on NBIS, where I sold some volatility. Wow. Looks like it's up 128. It's up $10 today. How about that? So we might be having to roll some. We're going to be rolling some fucking puts today. That's for sure. But we're all the way up here at 150, so I still got some room. So anyway, that's kind of it there. And again, stocks are really not interesting me much, but this is interesting as hell. Look at this. I don't know what happened. Something came out. Let's see. NBIS, Meta agreed to 27 billion AI infrastructure pact. Wow. NBIS to the moon. When they're going to blow that one up again. But anyway, there you have it. Have a good day, and I hope